Good evening, Dhamma friends. Wish you the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem to begin the Sutta studies today. It is December 3rd, Saturday. We are to begin the Sutta study for our knowledge and experience in the Dhamma and trying our best to make sure that we are on the right path and discipline. This Sutta study again provide us a very comfortable space to check whether we have been in the very specific Dhamma elements such as Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, and if we simplified them, whether we are in the peaceful state of mind. So everybody is feeling good, and I believe everybody is in good health too, so that it is very beneficial for us to begin the Sutta study with such compassionate mind for us and everyone who join with us and who are not here today as well. Let me begin the formally the Sutta study class by paying our homage to the Supreme Buddha. May these venerations help us concentrate well on the facts of the Sutta and sustain our practice as said by the Buddha. Let me recite the Namo Tassa in Pali and in English to pay our due respect to the Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, friends, the discussion is on Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. We were able to cover up the background story and other important information of the Sutta last week. We all come to an understanding that this is one of the wonderful discourses, not only in Majjhima Nikaya, but in the entire Tripitaka, because it is a clear indication of how we need to see the Buddha and how also the Buddha, was going to help his disciple who are eminent and erudite, and of course, who are able to attain nirvana. The Pukusati, the very character in the discourse, understood the Buddha through his teaching. If you read the discourse from the very beginning to the end, you can see that Venerable Pukusati was listening to the sermon given by the Buddha, and halfway through, he was able to have a clue that this is my teacher. How he did that? Because he understood from his wisdom that the very religious teacher in front of me is talking about the truth of mind and body, so that this would be my teacher. At the same time, what happened to him is his mind transformed from average situations to a supramundane level, where he confirmed himself attaining anagami state, the third enlightened state of the scale. So this is therefore a wonderful sutta to show us that some students of the Buddha saw the Buddha through the teaching. And it is another indication from different angle that this sutta is telling us that the Buddha even walked for a long distance, even for one person, if that particular person is rich with developed spiritual faculties. So not only with those things, this sutta is a very important one, where you see how the Buddha explained the elements in details, basically the 4 primary elements and 2 other elements. And then Buddha tells in this analysis of dhatu or elements that we, you, and everyone else are nothing but the 6 elements, 6 bases of contact, and 18 type of mental investigation or exploration. This is a human. This is a being. So we have different designation, explanation to us from the mundane experience, but from the absolute truth, we are nothing but the collection of these elements. So that is also a highlight of the discourse. And we were able to discuss some other important things at the very end of the first part. We can see that the Buddha is teaching the Dharma to Pukusati, and the Pukusati was attentively listening to the Dhamma, absorbing everything the Buddha said, so that something very important things happen. If you remember the last couple of minutes of the previous discussion, we were talking about what nirvana is, what would not be nirvana, based on the question asked by Vimal from Sri Lanka. So, however, we have to go to the middle of the discourse and understand the sutta. As I reiterated last week, that this kind of sutta should be read over and over by each and everyone, because it gives you so much inspiration. It gives you so much courage to do your own practice. From the first reading, you might get the meaning. You might be feeling that this is easier, but the knowledge and experience you should get based on the sutta would not be that much. It would be more depth, deep, and widespread, so that reading it for memory, reading it for cultivation on non-self should be actually very important and should be done over and over. And some other suttas are highlighted in commentaries by different scholars, Titayatana Sutta, and any sutta that explain dhatu, particularly the section where the analysis of element is explained in Samyutta Nikaya, Dhatu Samyutta. These are some of the important parts you could refer to in order to understand the whole scope of the sutta. Anyway, let me begin with by giving you the summary of the discourse. As you see, first we see the Buddha met Pukusati at the potter's place, and then by seeing the restrained way of living, the Buddha wanted to explain the Dhamma. Of course, Buddha knew who this person is, but Pukusati did not know. And there, the Buddha started the conversation with the summary. We call it Uddesa. So in the summary, Buddha talks about the individual is nothing but the 6 elements and 6 bases of contact, and then 18 type of mental exploration. Then right after that, the Buddha talks about very important 4 things. That is, Panyang Nappamajjaya, wisdom should not be neglected. Satchang Anurakkeya, the truth should be guarded or protected. And Chagang Anubruhaye, letting go of should be cultivated. And Santimeva Sikkayati, when you do the first one, second one, and third one, you are going to be very peaceful, and that should be attained. That should be owned by everybody. So these are the 4 things we come across right after the elements and bases and 18 kinds of mental exploration. Then the Buddha is to elaborate what he said. Person is consisting of 6 elements, and the Buddha explained each element in details. and I do not want to go on over and over, but simply Patavi Dhatu, Apo Dhatu, Vayo Dhatu, Tejo Dhatu, Akasa Dhatu, Vijnana Dhatu, even by Pali words, you know what it is. Then Chakku Ayatana, Sota Ayatana, Gana Ayatana, Jiva Ayatana, Kaya Ayatana, Mana Ayatana, basis of eye contact, ear contact, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Then very important thing, you should read over and over the 16 type of investigation or mental exploration, because that is about mind. That is about also feeling. How our mind absorb the feeling and attach to it. How our mind seek pleasant feeling and reject unpleasant feeling are also discussed there. So that this part is really important. Let me read the simple explanation. One seeing a form with the eye. So when we see the form from eye, simply when we see something, we are to investigate, we are to look for in details, and joy arises. If the feeling out of seeing is pleasant, in other words, we see something and joy arises because we are going to we are going to like it. We like it. That's why pleasant feeling arises. Friends, this happened very quickly, but this is how we can explain the procedure of happening pleasant feeling. And so when we see unpleasant things, the total opposite of pleasantness is rising in us, grief or unpleasant feeling, and that also happen quickly. And if the seeing is not either pleasant or unpleasant, the adukkama sukha arises in us, which is something we don't appreciate very much. So with regard to why we see that the three types of feeling could arise, the basis for pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feeling there is seeing. That's why they are called chakku sampassaja vedana. When the feeling is due to hearing, that is called sota sampassaja vedana. The very basis start from pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feeling there is the ear. So likewise, we see the explanation for the other senses. And if you are not very good with that, just read it and try to remember, try to see the formula. We always, would like to take the structure of something and remember that, so that we can build up our knowledge and experience on that. So read it and see how the Buddha explained the procedure there. So these are the 18 type of investigation, and it is divided into three, depending on how you feel. 3 joyful state, three unpleasant state, and also 6 joyful state, 6 unpleasant state, and 6 neutral state. So the Buddha concluded that section by saying, Bhikkhu Pukusati, this person is made up of 18 mental investigations. So it is said in this connection. Why do we say this? That the person is made up of 16 mental exploration? Because of this, if you look at in deep this particular statement from your own experience, perhaps we are always looking for pleasantness in our life. From the very moment of our life, in the morning, we do not do anything to be unpleasant, or we do not wish to be in neutral state. We just want to be happy with eating, drinking tea, bed tea, and going to washroom. We never want to be unpleasant, anything over there. And when we get ready for going for school and work, we want everything to be pleasant. If the bad weather is there, you dislike it. So overall, from a single activity to a major task, we wish to have things pleasant, to be pleasant. So, however, this material world never provide us such comfort at all. And also the other people are not in our mindset. They do not know what I think, and I do not know what they think. So we uh, act according to our own views and wishes and so forth, so that we find easily that mismatch is everywhere, so that unpleasant feeling could arise. Our projection, perception do not work at all. Sometimes it works, sometimes in many occasions they are not working, so that unpleasant feeling arises. And then there are chances to turn our pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling into neutral, adukkam sukha, depending on the time and space we are in the pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling. It's in this showing that the Buddha's statement that the person is nothing but the 16 mental aspiration is true. Yes, because not only humans, even divine and also other terrestrial beings and invisible beings look for this state, happiness, kama sukha, and getting out of suffering and so forth. So this statement is very true. So then we should not forget the brave statement of the Buddha about his teaching here. The panya should not be neglected. It has to be always regarded, and we should stand on that. We should work according to the panya. Panya is a very deep word which explain in many ways. If you look at Anupada Sutta, where the Buddha talks about Venerable Sariputta's wisdom, the Buddha uses many words. Panya has many categories. So Nibbedika Panya, Utu Panya, Asa Panya, Mahapanya, and there are different types of Panya. So Panya could be such deep, and from our level, we should always regard it. We should regard it and let them grow well. And therefore, the truth is protected. There is a link always from one to the other, so that when panya is protected, when pranya is preserved, truth is also being preserved and protected. And letting go of one of the significant thing in panya is providing us the time and space to detach from something we attach, something we uh, made our way to wrong direction. It's been changed completely. So letting go of is happening to a person when he has light of wisdom in his mind into a certain extent. Depending on the level of wisdom, there you have the depending on letting go of. And as a result of all these things, the peace of mind is sustained. Peace of mind is achieved. So, in terms of elaborating these four, the Buddha, took the entire time in the discourse to deliver the Dhamma, and we see there again the 6 elements are being explained in details, and then after 6 elements explanation and investigation, we can see that the Buddha talks about parables. Of course, when you come to the explanation where you see consciousness, the Buddha talks about pure consciousness. The pure consciousness in modern world, in my view, is something that the Buddha talks about when we come to wisdom. So pure consciousness is the consciousness that is not polluted by external information. When you analyze your body as 4 elements and then space element, what you have is consciousness only. And it is being filtered as well with wisdom, so that it is a kind of knowing only. It is a kind of, the presence of knowing. So that at the end of each element, the very important factor the Buddha asks us to practice is, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. It would be easier for individual to categorize his or her physical and mental, living into elements. But the difficult part is coming after that. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. This is the very statement you should keep in mind. Wherever you go, whatever you do, and whatever you think, you have to put these three important lines into them. That's how you practice the Dhamma. Because at the end, here in the discourse, Buddha talks about non-self on element first. And then when you see the non-self, why do you see that? Because they are impermanent. Anicca pajanati. We come to that part. So still I am giving you a summarized version of the sutta. So right after the detailed explanation of the 6 elements with those non-self practice, Buddha talks about the parable of fire stick. When you rub 2 dry wood together for a certain period of time, the heat is produced, and by that you can have fire. That is very common to everyone. And if you take 2 stones and rub together, the fire could be taken from this contraction, and it's been done by many people at some point of their life, just at least for teaching purposes. So given this simile, Buddha is talking about pleasant feeling is condition, unpleasant feeling is condition, neutral feeling is condition. Again, pleasant feeling is because of its condition. Unpleasant feeling is there because of respective condition for unpleasant feeling. And neutral feeling is not coming alone, spontaneously, for no reason. It comes also for reason. So that when we see the reasons of each type of feeling, each type of mental exploration, what the wise individual does there, take the measures to cut off or let go of the reasons for pleasant feeling, the reason for unpleasant feeling, the reason for neutral feeling. This is being done only wise people. Unwise, average people do not want to neglect pleasant feeling. They would be looking for it, and once they receive it through effort, they are not going to overcome it. They would live in that. But the wise people always understand that this pleasant feeling is because of this reason, and when the reason is gone, the pleasant feeling is also gone, so that this is not something to be hold on to, something to be held into, something to be attached to. So with the parable of fire stick, Buddha showed us clearly that our body, our life is because of previous karma. If we elaborate the idea behind this parable and the other important Dhamma factors, we have to apply them to our life. You are here in this Sutta study class because you came to know that this is happening through an email, through a flyer, and you have the interest to participate in, so that this reason made you to participate in the discussion. If you did not have electricity at the very beginning of the Sutta discussion, there was no way for you to join with the discussion, no way to open the computer, no way to participate in the listening and so on. So everything happens due to causes and condition. And where do we need to apply this conditional nature of everything? when we attach to something, and when we fight with something, and when our mind goes to the clutches of ignorance. And when we develop some Dhamma, very important Dhamma elements like wisdom, samadhi, mindfulness, so-called very important attainment, we also should be able to see the conditional nature of them. This mental peace now is because of my effort over there. I was directing my mind like this, and I was doing that kind of things to gain this experience. That is why it is this mental experience is here. So when you are in samadhi, if you apply wisdom over there to see the conditional nature, you see how this samadhi came into existence right now. So not only with the attachment, greed, hatred, and ignorance, but with also the detachment, with nibbida, with samadhi, with panya, we should see the conditional nature, paticca samuppada, in other words. So with the parable of stick, Buddha is giving so much space for us to apply different type of Dhamma elements. And then he goes to talk about equanimity. As I said, the Buddha said here, there remains only equanimity, upekka, pure, it is pure and bright, malleable, pliable, and radiant. Bhikkhu, just as a skillful goldsmith were to prepare a furnace, and there is a long, a statement about the parable. So if you are a good goldsmith and you know what to do with the gold, you might burn it into red and or liquid and make garlands, rings, and whatever it is it should be used for. Likewise, when the wise people can develop their mind into equanimity by understanding elements, by understanding related things to element, you are going to direct your mind to super absorption called Akasananchayatana, Vinyananchayatana, Akincanyayatana, and Neva Sanya Na Sanyayatana. So why did the Buddha talks about these attainments there in the Sutta? Because they are also subject to perception, feeling. In other words, they are part of aggregates. When you attain to Akasananchayatana, you do it with directing your mind to the space, and so your mind deal with the idea called space. And when you go to Vinyananchayatana from Akasananchayatana, it is another elevated mind, mind that is developed or advanced to a very super state. There you feel, there you understand that the consciousness is the vast spread thing in your mind. And like that, you go to Akasananchayatana and Nivasanyayatana. They are nothing but something about five aggregates. There would be chances for someone to attach to those extraordinary pleasures, extraordinary experiences, so that Buddha wanted to talk about them as also elements, as state of mind, in other words. They are also conditioned. We talk about the Paticcasamuppada as the most widespread teaching in the entire teaching. Even the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path are designed under the basis of Paticcasamuppada. Dukkha is there because of the reasons for dukkha. And the dukkha is, the reasons of the dukkha is eliminated with the dukkha. And for that, you have to practice the Noble Eightfold Path. Do you see that Paticcasamuppada theory in the Four Noble Truths? Yes. And if you look at the Noble Eightfold Path, they are intertwined and interconnected. So that is because of the Paticcasamuppada spirit in the Noble Eightfold Path. So that the Buddha is Sastru, or the incomparable teacher, because he never neglect the truth in explaining the Dhamma. We might be able to forget to attach certain elements of the Dhamma, but Buddha talks about, wait, equanimity is okay, equanimity is fine, but when you come to equanimity, how do you come? Those state, akasananchayatana, vinyananchayatana, akinchanayatana, nevasanya, nasanyayatana, they are conditioned. One attains to this state of mind, but with the basis of certain mentalities, certain observation. Let me read this. The very person who understands the Dharma into this level understand thus, if I were to direct this equanimity, thus pure, thus bright, to the sphere of infinite space, and were to cultivate my mind towards that state, it would be conditioned. So he understand, yes, I know that this is conditional and depending on something, so that he is going to cultivate kind of letting go of there. Whenever the wise individual knows that this state is unsettled, unstable, it is better, it is always done that this person is moving from it. At this point, we have to follow the sutta. At this point, with this statement of the Buddha about the conditional nature of for arupajanas, the sutta gives us evidences that Pukusati attained to anagami state. He neither construct mental, when you see the conditional nature of any higher jhanas like arupa jhanas, so rupa jhanas, there you see, there you do not want to hang on to those mental state anymore. That's why it is said in the discourse, he neither constructs mental formation nor thinks in terms of being and non-being, since he neither mentally constructs nor thinks in terms of being and non-being. He does not cling to anything in this world. Can you imagine that situation? What kind of feeling he is going to have? Because the pleasure of first jhana is incomparable even to going around the world with all kinds of luxurious things. Elsewhere in the Tripitaka, the Buddha gave us simile that the pleasure and the joy of the first jhana, just after you overcome the 5 hindrances, the pleasure in that is incomparable to any luxurious things in this world. How about the second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana? And if you look at the gradual speaking of jhanas, first the Buddha talks about the 4 jhanas and then the arupa jhana. So the mental happiness in akasananchayatana, vinyananchayatana, nevasa akinchanayatana, nevasanyayatana are super good and excellent and cannot be explained by words. And in this situation, how could you see the impermanence on them, non-self on them, conditional nature? Some people think that they stay there, automatically the vipassana is taking place. Friends, it is not evident, it is not right according to the Dharma. You have to direct your mind. If you remember the Pali words the Buddha himself used about his attainment to enlightenment, he first attained to first jhana and go to the second jhana, third and fourth. They are samahite chitte mudubhute kammaniye. So he clearly knew what exactly his mind was. It is bright, it is pure, and very, very, bright. Pariyodate, mudubhute, anangate, anangane. Those are some of the words he uses. There he abhininnameti. He directed his mind towards seeing his own past. Without directing, intentionally, You are not going to go do anything significant there. Likewise, when the wise person is in formless jhana state, he or she sees the conditional nature of the very happiness. It means sankara. This is sankata. This is made of. This is condition, so that he is moving. He doesn't want to attach to anything in this mind. The mind is the world. The synonym for mind is the world there. So this is why we see does not cling to anything in this world, does not want to attach to anything in the mind. Not clinging, he is not agitated. So people are agitated because of clinging. We are irritating for certain things because of our clinging. But this is the moment you are not irritated or agitated, because no attachment, not attachment is not taking place. The doors are closed for attachment there, because you see the conditional nature of very happiness you are experiencing there. So not agitated, he himself attained to nirvana for himself. So we see that there you make sure that you attend to nirvana. Now Pokusati, then let me read this part. The non-returners review knowledge. He understands thus birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, done what is to be done, and there is no more for this state of being. Usually that statement, kina jati ustam brahmacharyang katang karaniyang na parang ittattayati pajanati. So when the person understands that there is nothing to attach in this mind and body, in other words, this world, is going to experience Nibbida, Viraga, Nirodha, and Nibbana. So when Pukusati listened to this, he came to know that this is the Buddha. At the same time, simultaneously, attainment to non-return position was happened to Pukusati. So Buddha did not stop the sermon there. He wanted to complete it by saying the true nature of feeling. I told you that this sutta is speaking of Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, and Dhammanupassana in the name of elements. It was said last week in a short way. If you look at the where the Buddha they spoke about the elements, Dhatu Vibhanga, we can find the true nature of body, feeling, mind, and mental state. So here the Buddha talks about the impermanence of feeling again. If he feels a pleasant feeling, he understands that it is impermanent. He understands that it is not to be clung to. He understands that there is no delight in it. See, when the person understands pleasant feeling as it is, he understands it is impermanent. Why and how? Because now this pleasant feeling is jhanic experience. This pleasant feeling is very uplifted, very high level of pleasure. And he sees that this is sankata, sankara. This is not nothing but a sankara, something made up of. Therefore, he can be away from attachment. He can no delight on it. This delight is same as kamachan. He cannot be having that because it is very short period of time. The pleasant feeling is only for short period of time, impermanent, subject to fade away, so that he is going to take care of any pleasant feeling arises in the senses with regard with wisdom. And painful feeling is seen as impermanent, neutral feeling is seen as impermanent. Therefore, he understands that there is a feeling anyway in this body due to sensory experiences going on, but he understands that feeling is kaya pariyantika vedana. Because of the existence or the presence of this body, this feeling exists. Whenever the body is going to extinct or ended, this feeling is gone. Therefore, this person is not worrying about pleasantness, unpleasantness that happened to this body. It is only bodily feeling that is not, uh, you know, regarded by his mind. Of course, he has mental feeling as well, but it's not worried. He is not worrying about any such feeling. The parable of oil lamp is given there just to make sure the meaning of the statement Buddha uttered. When the oil in the lamp along with the wicks is okay, you can have light. But when the oil is going to be over, the wicks is going to burn down, burn up, burn off, and there is no light hereafter. Likewise, this life is continued in samsara from this moment to next moment with attachment. When there is no wisdom, when there is ignorance, it is going on and on. When there is no ignorance, it is not going, because the fuel for going in samsara is done. So that parable of the oil lamp is given. I'm not reading that part, too long to read, and it is taken our time for discussion. So the foundation of truth is done by is explained by the Buddha in such a way. Foundation of Satchaditthana. With this categorical, very detailed explanation, Panyang Nyapamajjaya, wisdom should not be neglected, is done by the Buddha. So he said us to consider us as elements, consider us as 6 type of contacts, consider us as 18 type of mental exploration. If you consider you as only these 3 categories of physical and mental exploration, you haven't neglected wisdom, you regarded wisdom. And when you go on further on elements in the body and mind and regarded them as not me, myself, and so forth, and practice nibbida, viraga on that, you are, of course, entering into preserving truth. You live up to the truth. So Buddha said a foundation of truth is built on someone like that. The liberation, we have to make sure that we liberated in that category too. This liberation of his founded on truth is unshakable. The liberate, if you go on step by step here in the analysis, you are regarded, you regard wisdom, you give some credit for wisdom, so that you have wisdom in your mind, so that slowly letting go of attachment, suffering is taking place there, so that the liberation as a result is coming in your your liberation is unshakable. Akuppa cheto vimutti. Your liberation is akuppa. Your liberation is imperturbable, unchangeable, and unshakable. Bhikkhu, that which has a deceptive nature is false. And if there is, we talked about this last week too, because of that unshakable nature of his mind, no, the nature, any conditional state outside, anything inside could not be deceive that person, because everything is created, everything is around based on conditional state. This person has reached to a state where unshakable, so that everything the other living beings consider as true and good and pleasant is false, is negative, is nothing, is wrong, and which has an undeceptive nature is nirvana. In other words, simply nirvana is not based on anything. So nirvana is not deceptive. It is the higher, it is the truth of everything, and everything else except nirvana is deceptive nature. So when we go to the third foundation, letting go, the Buddha talks about the ordinary person. Earlier he was the average person. Earlier he was ignorant. Somehow he is able to know what is the truth and what is going on in mind and body, so that he is able to abandon what he or she attached to, because the knowing is happening, kind of knowledge and experience is happening in his mind. So cut off of all kinds of negative things is taking place from the roots, so that he's going to be a kind of liberated person. And this liberated person is compared to the average person in such a way. Average person is like a tree that gives lives to many trees with flowers and seed and roots and things like that. But the liberated person is like a Palmyra tree, which is broken the top of it. If you understand the nature of Palmyra tree, if you break the top part, it's not going to grow at all. The enlightened person here is like that. So therefore, such an accomplished monk is one accomplished in the supreme foundation of letting go. So in the letting go part, we have different stages. Temporary letting go of is there, temporary detachment, chaga is there. For example, you feel bad and somehow you manage to overcome it by replacing some good thoughts. It could be a momentary letting go, but with the Buddha talks about samucceda prahana here, either to attain to sotapanna, sakadagami, anagami, particularly arhanship. Full letting go means total liberation, total letting go of attachment. So that is the complete letting go, but we can categorically understand that there are other level of letting go as well. So the foundation of is now established in this particular person. So greed, hatred, and ignorance are gone. Anger, ill will, all kinds of bad things are gone, so that the peace is well maintained. It is irreversible. It is unchangeable. So that this person is called liberated person. Wisdom should not be neglected. The truth should be guarded. Letting go should be cultivated, and one should indeed train for peace of mind. So it is said, and it is in connection that this is said. So we can see that the Buddha talks about all these things, and right after this, Buddha talks about very important thing again. Those who stand on them, what? On them means for foundation. Panya, wisdom should not be neglected. Truth should be, cultivated. Letting go should be cultivated, and then peace should be maintained, should be achieved. In other words, so when you stand on this, there you have peace at all, and he's called sake, liberated person. Bhikkhu, I am not, I am, this is a mental conceiving. So you are going to understand that anything you experience as only statement of mind and body. I am, this is a mental conceiving. I am this is a mental, I will be. So since you have let go of I, me, and myself completely, there is no I, there is no, I will be, and I will not be, I was, and all these asmimana, different type of measurement with regard to the person is gone. So that the analysis is done, and at the end, Pukkusati, speak again. Venerable Pukkusati thought that indeed the teacher has come to me, indeed the well Sugata, the one who has gone on the path well, is called Sugata, has come to me. Indeed, this is fully awakened, the Buddha. So he did not go to question the Buddha. Are you the Buddha? Am I sitting and listening to you for a long time now? And with the Buddha, he did not go to ask any questions from the Buddha about it, because he is certain about it. Why? How? Because he attained to Anagami state. The unwavering confidence on the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha is established well while listening. This is a clear indication of one attained to enlightenment by listening, and there are other examples also. So Buddha did not, Venerable Pukkusati did not go to question whether are you the Buddha, but he himself understood. Please forgive me because I used the word are you so, also. Also is a kind of, title we use to speak to a same-minded, same character, person. So Venerable Pukkusati, not knowing who the Buddha is, he used that word. Isn't this a clear example to show that the Buddha was not such a glamour, huge body, like, some people who have not gone through the training very much understand the Buddha always had those, beautiful radiance behind his body, and he was such a person. Pukkusati, not only Pukkusati, many people did not recognize the Buddha by his physical body. It is said in the commentarial tradition that the Buddha, with his will, hide his true appearance just because the Pukkusati wanted this particular results, attainment to a stage of non-return position. But it is in the commentary, it is point of views, but we cannot find it in these suttas. Buddha, when the Buddha talks about his physical body in Mahaparinibbana Sutta and elsewhere, we see that he was a fair, very handsome person. But at the same time, he was likened to Mahakassapatera. And Mahakassapatera was recognized as the Buddha by some people, but mistakenly because of his bodily characteristics. So that these evidences found here in this analysis can show that the Buddha was a very normal, physically normal person, would be very pleasant and handsome, but Pukkusati did not recognize the Buddha by any physical characteristic. So this is Pukkusati, Venerable Pukkusati's lion roar is here, and at the end of the discourse, he expressed his willingness to become an ordained disciple. Then the Buddha asked question about the necessities for becoming an ordained disciple, like patra, robes, and other things. But Pukkusati did not have anything except the clothes he was having. Then he got the permission from the Buddha to go out and find out the patra, robes, and other things, but unfortunately, he was attacked by a mad cow, according to the information, and passed away there. And when something like this happened at the time of the Buddha, there were bhikkhus who would like to know what happened to that particular person, because they knew that the Buddha know about any person's karma, flow of karma. Then Buddha answered those bhikkhus that he was a Sakya Putra, he was my son. I did not had a lot of difficulty in explaining him the Dharma. He attained to this state and he reborn in particular Brahma realm where he attained full enlightenment and attained parinirvana. So that is basically the conclusion of the sutta. You can find interesting information in the sutta for you to generate more shraddha. There are some places like I like very much. So for that, you need to read it carefully and taste it on your own. However, we have covered up many aspects of it. And for further details, we open up the floor for discussion. So it is a really interesting, very wonderful sutta, not because of the way it is going like a story, but the dharma in the sutta are relevant to us for practice. It tells us how do we put our manasikara there. How do we practice yoniso manasikara with regard to our mind and body? That is interesting part. So let's go on to the discussion. We will have maybe 20-30 minutes. Yes, Dr. Priya.
Now it's interesting how Buddha tried to take him all the way to Nibbana, but however he became non-returner, because he went to say about the Ruparaga, Aruparaga, the higher fetters don't get attached to even for the Aruparaga, Arupa jhanas, right?
Yeah.
But of course, he probably did not break. I mean, according to the story, he became a like a non-returner. Also, Bhante, when you said in say the different stages of Arupa jhanas, my understanding is you cannot really understand or contemplate impermanence because Vitakka Vichara is already gone in the first jhana. From there onwards, all these are perceptual attainments, right? Vitakka Vichara or the evaluation, directed and thought evaluation is only found in the first jhana. So you need to kind of reverse back from the Arupa jhanas up to the first jhana to contemplate on the impermanence of the jhana itself. Like this is a perceptual attainment, which is a perception, is arising and passing away. Am I correct? Like you cannot at the Arupa jhana levels to like contemplate on insight. At least that's why Buddha said in some sutra, all you need is the first jhana to kind of get fully enlightened. You can practice other jhanas, Arupa jhanas levels, but the minimum level you need is the first jhana.
That's true. What you said is true. When you are in the Akasananchayatana, Vinyananchayatana, Akinchanyayatana, Neosanya, Nasanyayatana, the thing you could do is less because it seems like you are there type of stuck you because your mind is so refined and so that the possibility of doing some vipassana with that is less. That's into a certain extent I was trying to get the Attakanagara Sutta and other suttas where Venerable Ananda talks about way out of particular jhana and attain enlightenment. So, but I was unable to get because of the internet connection. Anyway, yeah, when you look at the entire suttas where we have arupa jhanas, they are mental. They are called cheto vimutti. What you can do with them is liberating your particular mind from stages to stages. And if you are, doing vipassana on akasananchayatana, vinyananchayatana, akinchanyayatana, nevasanyana, asanyayatana, it has to be done with some mental investigation. With 9 stages of cheto vimutti, we can see clearly that you can attain either a non-returner position or arahantship with the first jhana. when you attain to first jhana, you do anicca dukkha anatta investigation on particular jhana mind, and there is a possibility for you to reach to at least to anagami state, if not arahantship is attained. And likewise, you can do the same thing with in the second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana, according to Venerable Ananda in Attakanagar Sutta. But a particular state where you confuse yourself, I'm not sorry for using confuse, it would not be the right word. When you are in Nevasanya, Nasanya, there your perception is muddled, cannot be fully understood. It's a very refined state where you have no go from, but when you do attainment to this state with a vision to attain full enlightenment, there is a chance for you to go to Sanya Vedayata Nirodha from there. So, because you understand that this Neva Sanya, Na Sanyayatana is a state of being yet. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to go from there. What happened to Uddakaramaputta and Alarakalam? They did not know way out of from that statement. So that
subtle perception is there. Either there is some perception,
yeah, that's
or
true.
no perception.
Perception, yeah, subtle perception make people little bit confused and kept there for longer, not knowing where to go. But if you practice for arupa jhanas inside the noble eightfold path, because the noble eightfold within the noble eightfold path, in the section of samadhi skandha, Buddha include these four, and if that is the path he or she goes, they can easily get out of it and attain sanya vedayata nirodha. If you practice two vehicles together, if you liberate from
Sanya Veda Nirodha is it equivalent to Nibbana?
yes, definitely, because in look at the word itself, sanya vedayata nirodha. You stop or you cease completely enjoying the perception. Sanya vedayita nirodha. What you cease is there enjoying the perception.
Is
the
it not a
problem,
jhana state, another arupa form of jhana state, or like a ninth?
No. It is way beyond it.
Equivalent
to nirvana. Only if you attain to sanya vedayita nirodha, not as an arahant, you are going to attain an arahantship there, because that state is attained only when one attains to arahantship.
Is it the same as shunyata viharati?
Indeed, it is included, because the problem of this whole system, all existence as human, divine, Brahma, animals, and so on, we enjoy the perception. That's why Sanya Vedana are very subtle state. So you stop both Sanya Vedana. Actually, if I say it that in this way, Sanya Vedaita, the very Pali word tells a very exact meaning of the attainment. You stop enjoying the perception. We, according to Sanya Vipallasa Sutta, we make things more complicated. We by way of perception. We think that this exists, that exists, and it is me, it is they are there, and this is pleasant, this is they are all about perception.
So
you
paradoxically, although the Nibbana is we talk about say etang santang etang panitang, there is no sanya, there is no vedana, but still it's a paradox, right? How can you say there is this is pleasant, this is the highest Nibbanam Paraman Sukha? How can you have a sukha where there is no vedana, like there is no feeling? So in other words, it's this is not the feeling not being there itself is a sukha, right? At the end of the shunyata viharati. So if it's some kind of subtle vedana, it's also suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Buddha said it elsewhere, I can remember the discourse. Yankinchi vedaitam tang dukkhanti vadami. Any feeling is a suffering.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. Yankinchi vedaitam tang dukkhanti vadami. If we talk about any type of feeling, where here in human existence, divine existence, in jhana, in arupa jhana, where whatever it is, they are all suffering. So in Nibbana, the one who attains to Nibbana never feels those pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feeling as other people do. It doesn't mean that they do not recognize pleasant. They feel heat, they feel cold, but their mental reactions to it has been completely turned down.
That's only
So-
like a temporary state, right? You enter like nibbana is like niman dakino, meaning you see nibbana, but you can't always be in nibbana. In other words, they are human beings. They have the other feelings. They go about daily lives, but they can enter and remain in any given situation if they need to. And then at the time of parinibbana, time of death, they enter the same. Am I right? Correct?
Yeah, Nibbana elements is completely done, and their mind is always in Nirvana, though they feel pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feeling. But you know what? Their mental reaction, since they have pulled out the seed of suffering, namely lobha moha completely, there is no attachment, there is no craving, nothing is there, nothing is burning in their mind. So that the pleasant feeling physically arising that's why kaya paryantikang vedanang, because of the existence of this physical body with senses, they have that physical feeling, but there is no mental feeling overbuilt on physical feeling.
Yeah. No suffering at the end. Yes.
No suffering. It is said in a nice way. One person, I can remember the person. Pain is always there for arahants, but no suffering at all for them or pain.
Yeah, pain is always and suffering is optional.
Yeah, optional. That's the I cannot remember the say.
Yeah.
Pain is there, suffering is
Pain
optional.
is inevitable, suffering is optional.
That's right. So Sanyaveda Nirodha is a state where you have seized everything. You have frozen everything. You have taken everything out. Usually we see that full enlightened arahants who have done everything go to that state and stay there for long for 7 days. But we do not see that the people who have not attained to arahantship go there. I mean, no examples available. But if you look at the way some disciples could attain full enlightenment, it is a possibility for any persons to attain Sanya Vedita Nirodha not as an arahant, but as soon as he or she attain to that particular state, he is going to be an arahant. The attainment to arahantship is happening when you attain to Sanya Vedita Nirodha.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, okay. So, Vimal Mahatmya from Sri Lanka has raised his hand. Please take your time.
Bhante, may I ask why Neva Sanya, Nasanya, Jhana is not explained in the Attakanagra Sutta?
That is because that I was trying to take the sutta from my device, but it did not happen. Yeah, it's a particular state where you cannot do much. It's in other suttas. Buddha talks about Sanya Vedita Nirodha is something to be achieved by those arhants when they actually move from one stage to another state on Cheto Vimutti. But in Attakanagra Sutta, where when Balananda explained things, he excluded that state as a door to nirvana because of the complexity over there. Because you are, look at the word itself, sanya, neva sanya, na sanyayatana. You are not fully understood. You are not fully understanding what perception, whether it is existing or not. Am I existing or not? Am I existing or not? So this question is about your perception there when you are there in neva sanya, na sanya. So
But I see. Sorry.
I think that is because of why Unvenerable Ananda did not mention it there in the list. And your question is very important. And I'm going to look at it again and also form a discussion with someone I know about this, so that I would, if I find something different, and I said I would come to you next time. So this is what I can tell you now, that it is a state where you are not fully aware what perception is and who you are and so forth. So that how could you do impermanence on self and so forth. It's a state of formless jhana, for sure, and you are very close. If you look at the scale, you are very close to sanya vedeta nirodha, but there is no guarantee that you do it. If you want to do it, you have to have that powerful force in your mind that push you into sanya vedeta nirodha, nirvana.
Thank you, Bhante, because I see in many other sutras delivered by Buddha himself, after the Nevasanya Nasanya, you can go into Asavakya. So all 8 jhanas are explained in other sutras.
Yeah. So this is the thing, as Dr. Pial said, the individual who experience 8 jhanas does not do it at just once. We have to master on them. The particular word we say in English is mastering on it. That means we attain to first jhana, and let's do it over and over until you cover up every aspect of the first jhana. Akicchalabhi, akasiralabhi, nikamalabi hoti. When you do it over and over, you can attain to it without too much work, without too much suffering. At will, you can attain. How do you do that? Because you enter it over and over. If I ask you the details of your house, you might tell it at once, because you know each corner of your house, because you have been living there. You see it every day, and you see you go everywhere in the house in need, so that you know. So likewise, we have to live in that, not at once, but over and over. I have seen those raga players used very heavy stuff carrying in their back with a rope and run forward just to develop their physical strength to push people. Likewise, in jhana, when we attain to either rupa jhana or arupa jhana, we have to stay there to accept challenges. For example, if you attain to first jhana, overcoming 5 hindrances, do it over and over and expect challenges. So you face the challenges with your strength, and as a result, your strong jhanic experiences become more stable and stronger, so that you can do a lot of things inside the first jhana. Likewise, you do it in each jhana, and then at some point you realize that I attained to first jhana, second, and I have the ability to do it in first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, akasananchayatana, vinyananchayatana, nevasanya, nasanyayatana, and so forth. So you see the whole picture at once. There you see, not necessarily in the nevasanya, nasanyayatana, but in this state of investigation, you see that neva sanya na sanyayatana is sankata, aditya samuppanna, anicca. It is a state of impermanence. It is a state of sankata. It is a state of condition, based on condition, so that you can get asavakya. So there are such things, because in samadhi mind as a whole, you do it. Look at Panya Vimuttarhans. They do not go to Sanya, they do not go to Neva Sanya Na Sanya. They have no skills in those Arupa jhanas, but they have jhana. So
they have to come out of the jhana, right? I mean, you can't do that in the jhana. I mean, they always, the sutta talks about coming out of the jhana. And that's
that
where
is, if I may say here that, the Sinhala translation is weak there. If I take, let me say, I'm trying to remember the very Pali word. If you look at the Pali word, it's not basically completely going out of jhana, based on jhana. That is the very important thing to understand. In Sinhala translation, it says jhana negative. It sounds like you come out of jhana and do vipassana. Then what is the purpose of jhana? So based on jhana, the very Pali word explained based on jhana. What do you do there? You look at the impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self on the jhana mind. Otherwise,
because you can't, because there's no vitaka vichara is gone out of the first jhana. That you can only do contemplation or directed thought and evaluation and the first jhana itself. After that is all perceptual. It's all about feelings and sanya, neva sanya. So I don't believe
that is the way one attained to sanya way. When the Buddha wanted to tell the gradual explanation of how one attained to how one sees the three kinds of sankara, kaya sankara, vachi sankara, and mano sankara, chitta sankara. So he explained that. But at some point, we have to understand that if we look at the Attakanagara Sutta, based on first jhana, based on second jhana, based on third jhana, fourth jhana, and other metta, karuna, mudita, they can do vipassana extensively, because even the Buddha, look at when he was in the fourth jhana, he directed his mind to see the other, Pubbe Nivasanusati, Chutupapata, and Asvakya. So it said that not going completely out of the first jhana or any jhana, based on that jhana mind, impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self is understood.
When you say based on the jhana, I think it means while being in the jhana, because while being in the jhana only, you can eliminate the 5 hindrances. Because I have seen this in Mahamalukya Sutra. In the first jhana, after the first jhana, you can go into Asavakya while you eliminate the 5 hindrances. Am I right?
Hindrances are already gone while the mind is settled, like in the first jhana. I mean,
yes,
that's where hindrances are all subdued. Like say, when you talk about for foundation, that's what the first setting up the stage for is getting rid of the hindrances. Then only the mind settles down, I believe.
Yeah, this translation doesn't make any sense, particularly in Sinhala, because that is truly confusing. But we have to have another discussion on this later on, because it needs a lot of sutta explanations to have a full discussion. But at this time, keep your concern and questions with you, so that they are very helpful for a very meaningful discussion. So it is better for us to understand now that this jhanic mind is necessary, because with hindrances at all we cannot do anything. We attainment to sotapan, attainment to anagami, sakadagami, and full enlightenment at once or gradually happens without hindrances. So when there is no hindrances, it talks about jhana. So Sama Samadhi should be there always for anyone to get enlightened to any stage of enlightened.
Correct, Bhante.
With hindrances, it doesn't happen at all, because when there is hindrances, they are the agents of Lobha Dvesa Moha. They are the agents of Sanyojana. They are the agents of whatever defiled state. So that with that, the mind doesn't go into a destruction of any craving. That is for sure. So we will form another discussion to talk about how one attain, how one does, vipassana on jhana, and what kind of mentality should be there for anyone to do that next time, as time available.
That's very good. Thank you, Bhante. Thank you for your time.
Yes, because time is not giving us so much space to do that here. And I saw, thank you very both for your insight. And I saw Chandrainona raise her hand, but later on she took it.
I took it because the time is not enough.
Okay.
We can discuss it on the other day.
Okay. All right, it's really interesting. So back to the sutta to end the discussion for today. It is Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. It talks about the fundamental truth of a person, physically and mentally. At some point, the Buddha put everything as elements, whether it is physical or mental. So if we are able to apply that investigation, the results is there for us. It is a very applicable medicine that you see the illness is gone immediately. So it is a powerful medicine that we should drink and cure our sansaric illness. I think the sutta is powerful and it is very direct. At the same time, Venerable Pukkusada was also coming all the way in sansara to this particular result, so that the Buddha delivered the discourse to a powerful, prepared type of person to understand enlightenment. So he directly got into non-returner level, and that's what Sutta says. And try our best to practice dhatu manasikara, so that we would be able to near into nirvana with any stage of enlightenment. I thank both Dr. Pial and Vimal from Sri Lanka and Chandrani for speaking here and giving their insight. And those who listen to us silently, they would understand Dhamma in such a way. And I wish everyone good health, peace of mind, and Dhamma-centered life. The more you do, the better understanding come to you. And may you all attain nirvana. And if I speak about next week Sutta study class, in 2 days, I will be going to West Virginia Bhavana Monastery for 5 days, and I will be returning on Saturday evening. I like to conduct the Sutta study class if I am not tired from traveling. Otherwise, I will inform you by an email that I won't be available for next Saturday. But anyway, we'll have a good Dhamma discussion next time on something we have to solve. So that's all for today. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. May you attain Nirvana soon. Sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu, sadhu.